What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's Pedro and Skylar back with another video.
You're
Here's Skylar over there, chilling in his room, about to record this video. I got Post Enchanter, aka the Enchanter. This is a secret layer version of the Enchanter. I wanted to build Zer in honor of my brother-in-law. He got a Zer deck himself, so try to put a little spice of my own onto it. He's a very controlled player, so I try to be a little controlled too. But basically, flying, whenever Post Enchanter attacks, you may search a library for an enchantment card with mana value 3 or less, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. One thing, keynote is, it says put it onto the battlefield and then shuffle. So you could put it onto something that has hexproof, because you are not targeting it. Just a little secret thing to know. Scheming Fence I threw in here, mostly because choose a non-land permanent, somebody's commander, somebody's creature that's doing something wrong. Activated abilities of the chosen permanent can be activated, and Scheming has all activated abilities of the permanent that you chose. So he gets to copy stuff and shut stuff down. Speaking of shutting stuff down, Dranith Magistrate, that's how you say it. Your opponents can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hand. And Commander straight up shut down casting their commander. Also stops them from flashing back stuff, doing anything that doesn't have to do with their hand. Creatures and enchantment spells I control cost 1 more to target. Notion Thief, 2 colorless and blue-black, has flash. Basically, this shuts down everybody from drawing. Like I said, we're a very controlled deck. So if an opponent would draw a card except for the first one they draw in each of their draw steps, instead that player skips that draw and you draw a card instead. So ain't nobody gonna be drawing cards except for the first one they draw, because that one's going to you. Also shuts people down. Each player can't cast more than 1 spell each turn. It's pretty nice. Heliod's Pilgrim searches your library for an aura card, basically any enchantment we have that can enchant a target. Creatures entering the battlefield don't cause abilities to trigger. Shuts down our opponents just a little bit. Even Minded Soar, flash flying. If an opponent will search a library, that player searches the top 4 cards of the library instead. So if somebody's trying to tutor for something, they're not going to find it unless it's at the top 4. We got the other Zer. Zer. So we got Zer, Internal Schemer. Basically, enchantment creatures you control have Death Touch, Lifelink, and Hexproof. Colorless and a white. Target non-aura enchantment you control becomes a creature. In addition to his other types, has a base power and toughness equal to his mana value. Not too bad. Make our regular enchantments attached to people and the creatures. Also still being an enchantment, but be careful for board wipes. Opposition Agent, amazing card. Being very controlled. You control your opponents while they search the library. So basically, whatever they're searching for, you're going to search for it. And while the opponent's searching their library, they exile each card they find. You may play those cards for as long as they remain exiled. And you may spend mana as though it was mana of any color. So we get to search the library, get to exile something we want, get to cast something we want. Can't nobody draw more than 1 card a turn. Slow down people for when we get behind. Another way to search our library for an enchantment card. Any enchantment, not just an aura. Mesa Enchantress. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you're going to draw a card. Oromancer. Return target enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand. Srum, Senior Artificer. Whenever you cast an aura, an equipment, or vehicle, draw a card. Basically enchantment spells. This my good old boy right here, Mr. Hermit. Sacrifice him. Counter target spell. 3 colorless or less. Or you can flip him on his backside. After you do that, he has non-creature spells you control can be countered. If it was put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile instead. Flying. And is disturbed. So basically you disturb him back. As the disturb cost is 2 colorless and a blue. So not too bad. Not too bad of a card there. Get into the next one. Sleeve that back up. The reality chip. Any blue deck most likely will take this guy. You may look at the top card of the library anytime. As long as the reality chip is attached to a creature, you may play a land cast from top of your library. Pretty nice. Reconfigure. Now these are going to be our enchantments that we search with Zur. Duelist Heritage gives them double strike. Law Mage Binding. Flash, enchant creature, can't attack or block. Its activated abilities can be activated. So with Flash, we can cast it on our turn, or if it's in our hand. Pacifism, can't attack or block. All That Glitters gives us +1/+1 for each artifact and enchantment we control. Mirror Maid, basically to copy any enchantment we have. Timely Wizard gives our enchantment indestructible if it's in our hand. It has Flash as long as it targets our commander. Propaganda comes in handy when people have a big board and they're trying to attack. They have to pay 2 for each. Dreadful Apathy. Enchant creature can't attack or block, and for 2 colors and a white we can exile enchanted creature. Eel Umbra gives us Totem Armor, +1/+1. Also Flash. Mystic Subdual, enchant an opponent's creature. Has Flash also, gets -2/-0 and loses all abilities. Shut somebody down. Enchant creature gets +1/+1. It has lifelink. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Little card draw right there. Turn somebody's commander or anything into a 0/1 insect that's indestructible. Loses all other abilities and types. Sigil of the Empty Throne. When you cast an enchantment spell, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying. Frogify, really like this one. Loses all abilities and is a blue frog with a base power or toughness 1/1. Sun Cast, enchant creature gets +1/+3. For 1 white, we can return enchanted creature to his owner's hand. So it allows us to protect Zur in case somebody tries to destroy him. Imprison the Moon. Do this to a lot of commanders. Do this to a lot of threatening stuff. Just enchant them and turn them into stuff that people have to sacrifice, or basically just sits on a board and does nothing. Enchant creature gets +1/+1 for each enchantment you control and has first strike. Leyland Binding. The reason this is in here, even though Zur can't touch it, costs 1 less. Has Flash. Exile something. Gives it +1/+1 and synergizes with the rest of our deck. Gives Zur basically enchant creature protection for multicolored. Gives us hexproof until end of turn. Flash. And enchanted creature gets +1/+1. Scry 2, when it enters the battlefield, enchanted creature can attack or block. Got this from my brother-in-law too. Stasis, in case you want to slow down a game, search for an answer. Do this when everybody's tapped out and it kind of slows down a game, especially if you have a way to untap. Banishing Light. Enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls. Combat Research. Another enchant creature, when it deals damage, draw a card, has Ward 1. Frantic Search. Draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Swords to Plowshare. You already know what that does. And Malachor Rebirth. Whenever a creature dies, you lose 2 life until end of turn. Return that creature to the battlefield tapped. Way to bring back stuff that was destroyed. Good old Opt. Nice little foil there. Obscure Charm. Let you return stuff from the battlefield or counter target instant or sorcery spell. Has 3 options. Snap. Return target creature to his owner's hand. Untap 2 lands. Rewind. Counter target spell. Untap 4 lands. So that's basically a free counter spell. Play another counter spell after that. Counter target spell that targets a permanent you control. Somebody's trying to get rid of something. You keep it safe and you draw a card. Also adds for a land on the backside. And counters target spell if its controller plays 1. So just in there for extra mana base. I know it's not a real good counter spell, but we got the original counter spell here. Essence Scatter. Counter target creature spell. Got a lot of counter in here. Got a nice Absorb, colorless and blue. Counter target creature, you gain 3 life. Dovin's Veto. This spell can't be counter target non-creature spell. Defabricate. Counter target artifact or enchantment spell if it was exiled this way. Instead of putting it into its owner's graveyard, you exile it. Counter target activated or triggered ability. So multi-uses. Then we go to Arcane Signet. Missed the Temporal Lockdown, Failware Stone, Wayfarer's Bauble. As you've seen, the other thing to untap the lands, got an Isochron Scepter in here, so you put that in there. Allows you to keep untapping it, and untapping it. Soul Ring, good old Rampant, the Mirror Signet. And now we're getting into one of my favorite card types, Planeswalkers. We run a select few of them. It's a Fairy Time Raveler. Each opponent can't cast spells. The only time they can cast a sorcery. So, bounce stuff to people's hands. This one has a passive effect. Your opponents can't search their library. This one has a passive effect of stuff costs one more. And then we got Tameo. Basically tap down people's stuff, doesn't untap. Or we draw a card for each tap thing that a player controls. And then -8, if we ever get that off, you have no maximum hand size. Whenever a card is put into your graveyard from anywhere, you may return it to your hand. Another passive effect, Planeswalker. Can't draw more than one card each turn. And then we get into our land base. Play a heavy select of dual lands. This you guys can play around with. See what you do to your budget. 3 colors, you tend to want to play more dual lands, but you can have them laying around. Don't have to play too many fancy. Play a couple basic lands here or there. That's basically the deck tech for Post Enchanter. It's not too bad. Fun deck to play, very controlled. Only play with friends who are okay with getting their stuff shut down, and also don't try and play Zerg right away. Have a way to protect them unless you know he's going to be safe. Till next time, guys. Post Enchanter. Next deck tech coming soon. Peace out.